Well, this will certainly be a fun and interesting conversation. Everybody in the NFT NYC community, thank you for joining us. And Miko, thank you for jumping in.
Yeah,
Can't wait to
great to be here.
hear about all of your thoughts around gaming and all the things that are happening in the market. You come to us as a general partner at Gumi Crypto and have an extensive background supporting entrepreneurs and helping entrepreneurs manifest and bring their ideas to life. I would love for you to introduce yourself properly to our community and give us a little background on who you are and what's getting you excited today.
Yeah, absolutely. So we're super excited about the blockchain segment. We did deploy our entire fund one of 21 million into the crypto winter of 2018, 2019, and really culminating in sort of the DeFi summer. So, we really have had a good success with that fund. So we raised a second fund of 110 million, which we're deploying now. So, we're definitely very active. We're very diversified across all segments. In our fund one, we did invest in the seed stage and led the strategic seed round of OpenSea. Also, we're in the seed round, third external investor in YGG or Yield Guild Gaming. So we do have an exciting kind of spin around NFT and gaming. So, we do think that that's part of what we bring to the table.
What do you think is the consensus right now around gaming and investing in this segment of the crypto space? And do you agree with the general consensus, or are there ideas that are kind of outlier ideas that maybe don't?
Yeah, I love to be contrarian. I think that there's a couple of consensus points around things like in ETH Denver, I spoke on a panel called "Why Gamers Hate NFTs," right? And I think that I'm contrarian against that. I actually think gamers are very neutral about NFTs. Actually, they hate suits, right? So the full-throated rejection of basically Ubisoft's Ghost Recon NFT, right? Like gamers rejected that very, very soundly, right? So they full-throated rejection. I think they sold 3 NFTs and then they pulled the entire program, canceled and refunded, right? So like that's pretty bad, right? That's a very bad showing. But I think Ubisoft has a bad reputation. EA has a bad reputation. Large publishers have a bad reputation, right? So that's really what I wanted to share. We're fresh out of GDC here in San Francisco, and we definitely heard an earful about kind of the malignant effect of the existing large game publishers on the industry, right? So I think Web3 is a revolution, but it's not a revolution by gamers. Actually, the gamers are pretty happy, right? Gamers are happy people. Like they're playing fun games.
Right.
The games are, it's not that Web2 games aren't fun, right? They're super fun. Like, the point that I'm making is that the publishers are the large centralized rent-seeking intermediaries that are replaceable, right? And that they can be replaced by protocols. They can be replaced by blockchain rails, right? So that's the point that I would make that's kind of contrarian to the consensus, right? Which is gamers are neutral. The problem so far has been that we've just not been good at selling to gamers, right? So the idea of NFT game is almost like, I think of it as like, it's like a TCP IP game. It's like, come play my TCP IP game. It's so exciting, right? Does TCP IP make a game more fun? Yes, like it's a network protocol and it kind of allows you to do things like multiplayer, right? So the games are more fun. But why would a gamer care about the technology implementation technology? So NFT games is the same. It's like, I don't care. Like, I'd love to sell back my items that I got at the end of my gameplay. That's a feature implemented by NFT. But I think the concept of an NFT game is a bad concept.
When you think about the reach that the World Cup has through television, and you think about the reach that is to come, maybe in some of the gaming environments, can you help people that maybe are not thoughtful of what is, like, what's the furthest extent we've been able to take physical sports, compare that to what's the extent we've taken gaming, and where might that go? I feel like you may have a keen insight and maybe a statistic or two that we might find to be quite intriguing.
Yeah, so there are 3.7 billion gamers worldwide, majority of which are in Asia. The thing that I think is tremendous about sports and the kind of global game of sports is that the players of the sports are actually creating history through their behavior and action, right? So one of the exciting games so CCP Games, the publisher of EVE Online, actually Web2, famous Web2 multiplayer game, they actually just raised $40 million from Andreessen Horowitz and friends to go after Web3 gaming, massively multiplayer Web3 gaming, where the players create the history, right? So I think this is really where the metaverse is going, right? So if you look at like famous players, Ronaldo or these kind of like amazing FIFA players, right? Like obviously they create history by everything they do, right? So we're moving into an era of metaverse where the blockchain is a history recording device, right? And that the actions of the players are going to be recorded as an immutable history, right? And that the players are actually going to create their own history, right? So the history of the game is shaped by the player. I think that's a great definition of metaverse. So, I think that's a way of thinking about this from a sporting perspective, obviously, because professional sports is going to also give way to professional esports. So I think that's kind of a weird lens. But I think when we start to see these gamer-centric histories being created in these gamer-centric universes and transmedia franchises, we really are talking about kind of an incredibly futuristic state.
How about the integration of the two? So one of the things I was thinking several years back when we started NFT NYC, one of my thoughts around like 10 years out was by the 2028 Olympics, that there'd be an integration between what's physically happening in the Olympics and how people are gaming alongside the Olympians, not affecting the Olympic outcome, but the Olympians are affecting the experience by which gamers are playing the same sport at the same time in real time in every language. So this is like one of the big ideas that I just thought this is going to be incredible when you have this cross collaboration and multiplication of each other's environments. Do you have any thoughts on that? And do you see any companies, maybe your portfolio companies, that are helping create this potential future?
Yeah, I mean, I do see synthesis occurring really through augmented reality, right? So one of the
Right.
things, I recently watched, Japan versus USA baseball, pretty exciting game. Came down to kind of six throws, really exciting pitching and batting contest, right? But like, obviously what we're increasingly seeing are things like digital overlay and digital replay, right? And so you're starting to see, ultimately, we're going to see things like digital and AI umpires, right? And at some point, we're going to because at that point, what's happening is that the rule adjudication is effectively like a game engine, right? So like, so ultimately, we're going to see a synthesis between kind of the real world and real world events and real world activities that, again, like in the Olympics, we're talking about athletes and players creating history, right? And that this kind of historical kind of events will also be synthesized with machine players and actors, right? We're already seeing things like that with mocap, right? With motion capture, right? And then as to me, the thing that I'm really excited about too is a little bit later this year, we're going to see the launch of the Apple reality headsets, right? And
Big deal.
obviously, it's projected to probably be about $3,000 per headset. So like it's a luxury item.
Right.
It's probably a replacement for a MacBook, but like the bottom line will be that even if they don't sell many headsets, the AR world that they are purveying will
Yeah.
already have a day one population of 1 billion iPhone users, right? That the iPhone users are just going to lift their phones and look inside and they're going to be
That's
able to
right.
see a unified singular AR world, right? So I think that, that's going to be a big harbinger of what you're describing, right? Which is the pure synthesis of kind of in arena physical athletics. I think people in the stadium will probably experience, essentially AR Olympics, maybe not this Olympics, it could be 4 years out, but like
Right.
my feeling is that this kind of synthesis will increasingly be exciting to people, right? They may even see, Sonic the Hedgehog racing against your favorite sprinter in the 100 meters, so there's, so that these things can all be achieved through, the synthesis.
Absolutely. I'm going to share my screen for everybody out there. And by the way, if you're watching our conversation, thank you for your attention. This is your upcoming talk. You'll be on the main stage Friday afternoon. The revolution will not be televised. It'll be gamified. So I encourage everyone to join for that. Maybe you could give a little preview before we wrap up our conversation and why because basically at NFT NYC, we would let you speak about anything. You just tell us what you want to talk about, Miko, and we say yes. So you chose this specifically. Why is this the thing you want to talk with the community about, and why is this the time to discuss this topic?
Yeah, I think the thing that's so important is that NFT projects are increasingly thinking about so-called utility. And I'm really thinking about an NFT as being like a ticket, right? And what is it a ticket to? Obviously, tickets are almost entirely for entertainment, right? So people who are holding NFTs are increasingly holding them and saying, where is the fun in this? Like, what can I do with this? Like, how am I going to enjoy this? If you look at the new leadership at Yuga Labs, right, it's coming from Activision Blizzard, right? It's coming from a game company, right? So to me, the idea that the revolution will be gamified is really speaking to that idea of an NFT as essentially an entertainment ticket. And the obvious conclusion is that digital entertainment is, obviously you can get into a party, so you can have real world entertainment. You can have Eminem, Bored Ape number, whatever, on stage, right? So you can do real world events, as we'll definitely see at NFT NYC, but you can also have digital entertainment like gaming, right? So I really feel like the disruption and the revolution is a revolution of game developers against publishing houses like EA and Ubisoft. And, people are kind of sick and tired of the regime of these kind of large, mercenary rent seeking intermediaries filled with suits, right? So that's the kind of anathema and the bane of the existence of the game industry. And we really are excited to see a revolutionary movement around Web3 that will disrupt the hegemonic control of these kind of overlords in the game industry.
Well, thank you for coming on and speaking frankly, not just because it's contrarian and because it's provocative, but also because of your perspective. You just have a keen insight into the industry that others don't have because of your role in funding the entrepreneurs that are creating the future around these topics. Thank you for being here with me today and for coming and being part of NFT NYC once again with us. We look forward to hearing you and learning from you as we always do.
Thank you so much.
Absolutely. And for all that watched, I'll be back again soon with another conversation much